Bungie has been keeping secret when it comes to the final shape expansion and the update known as Into the Light that releases next month. We officially got a key promo art for the major free update in the last TWID, and we got 3 developer insight streams planned, one being this next Tuesday, and then the 27th and the 2nd of April that will reveal a lot more content and the free content that we're going to get in this major update. Now, it points out to a lot of players that this is not going to be just a normal update with a match-made activity and like 2 new weapons, because having 3 developer insight streams just to have that amount of content would be atrocious, and it would just not make sense at all. So this is going to be something that in ways is definitely going to maybe expand again a player's expectations of the update, because this is definitely going to be really interesting, and it definitely looks like it's our quote-unquote Lightfall we were thinking when we had the Lightfall expansion earlier last year. When we thought of Lightfall back in the day, we would think of the final clash or the final pre-numbered expansion with the Witness and its forces climbing down on our walls of our last city and fighting against the Guardians, the Cabal, the Awoken, and the Elixir, and finally, working together to figure out a plan, and we would ultimately lose to the Witness and come back in the final shape expansion. Obviously, that wasn't the case, and what we got was Cabal, Strand, and Neomuna, and what we know as Rohan and Nimbus, and that is just the expansion in a nutshell, and the Witness basically won, but there was no emotional impact with the Lightfall expansion. With the promo that we got in the TWID, we see that there is a clash between the Hive, the Black Fleet, of finally approaching the last city. These Guardians using old weapons similar to like the Fallen Guillotine, the Midnight Coup, and the Blast Furnace from Black Armory, and it looks like we're going to make our final stand when we climb towards the portal into the Pale Heart, and it looks like the old tower is constructed. Now, the reason why I bring that up to start the video is that one of the leaks that we talked about a year ago, which is funny enough, that a credible leaker pointed out, is that the Witness will send the remaining Worm Gods to attack the city during Lightfall. Obviously, that wasn't the case, and a lot of the content from Lightfall was cut into the final shape, and now we don't really need to talk about that going forward. Lightfall can just be stripped away, and we don't need to talk about it anymore. But you get my point. It looks like the Worm Gods and the Hive will have a really big impact into the Light narrative if Bungie follows what they're showing us in the key art. It looks like the Hive is going to be one of the main enemies that is going to be along with the Witness forces and the Black Fleet, and that we are going to have to go into the last city and maybe a activity or so and fight along it, and maybe like horde mode activity protecting the citizens, which would be really intriguing. And with the Worm Gods finally attacking, we haven't seen them really since we killed Zol in Warmind, which was in 2018. That was a long time ago. So to see the Worm Gods finally make a comeback, it will really point out a lot of things. Unfortunately, we do not know at this time, because we did think that throughout Lightfall we were going to face Zedo Wrath. With Season of the Witch events happening, and with her being banished from her throne world, now being sort of in a vulnerable position, it's unclear right now if Zedo is going to be in Heresy, or if she will be in the final shape as maybe a boss or so, and then we pull her back, or we kill her, and the Heresy expansion will focus on Savathun. It's really unsure at this point, so I'm putting bets on that this will be maybe the first time we maybe see her on the big screen, but we won't actually kill her or get the huge story depth with her like we did with the other sisters until the episodes. Now, that's what I got in Into the Light. Let's go into some of the episodes that has gotten some new leaks in the last couple of days. Now, with Echoes, we have a lot of stuff we are going to talk about. Now, Echoes will be the first episode that will arrive with the final shape, but it looks like the story and a lot of the content that we're going to get with it won't happen until after the final shape is sort of done narratively and when all the content is done. So it will focus on, the Echoes episode will focus on the sole divisive after the Witnesses' defeat. Venus, Mercury, and Io will be the prominent planets, and Osiris, Asher and Praedyth are prominent characters. Osiris looks for Praedyth within the Infinite Forest using Asher's research notes from Season of Defiance, the Avalon exotic mission. Praedyth is the only one who can truly stop the Solstices because of the eons he's trapped outside of time. The season will focus on, or episode if you will focus on wrangling Osiris's echoes from corners of the Vexnet to aid in the search. However, Osiris will no longer have control over them since his light is gone. This is really intriguing because it really builds on top of the whole events from when Savathun captured Osiris after his light was gone, because he now can't really do a lot of the old things that we used to know him if you played the Osiris expansion. You don't need to, because that expansion is quite bad. But that's what we got on Echoes. Looking on to Revenant, it will focus on the Scorn Civil War. Now freed from the Witness control, we now know that the Scorn is kind of having a change of heart, if you will. Actually, transforming into something new, and maybe actually transforming into a species that actually can have, will and control over what they want and not always following someone else, if you know what I mean. The Fanatic is going to be leading his faction, and there's going to be an enemy Scorn faction comes about. Crow will get involved. The quote-unquote B plot of the season is focused on Crow and Vikrul's past. Now, Mithrax and Ido are minor characters, and there will be a 12-player activity called Skirmishes. There was a lot of leaks that we also talked about back in the day that this is not going to end with the Fanatic just dying, because obviously he always respawns due to the whole Dark Ether and all that stuff. But it's really actually going to focus maybe on how Crow and Vikrul will actually talk to each other, maybe in a cinematic or with us, like we saw with Mithrax and Aramis in Season of the Plunder, and that by the end is that we are actually not going to necessarily destroy all the Scorn or Vikrul. We're just going to let them be, and there's maybe going to be sort of, I wouldn't say a treaty per se, but there's going to be sort of this like act where we're just going to be like, we're just not going to fight you anymore. We made amends. You go do your own thing, which is kind of intriguing. It's sort of like Savathun and her brood, but it's going to be like this, like, okay, we're done, because this will really make amends, and it will really go into the Scorn sort of type story. The last episode, Heresy, will mostly be unknown at this point right now, but aside from little small details, such as Hive will be in full retreat from Sol from a loss that could be either from the Witness's defeat or from ITL, the Hive assault that we're going to get into the light fight battle that we're going to get soon. And apparently Necromancy will be having a somewhat play. This could be similar to what Nokris had in the Seasonal Rivals mission with Savathun. But that's really all I got in today's video. But looking at all that together, those were just some cleanups that I wanted to make on some of the episodes and Into the Light, because there's a lot of things that are coming our way for us Guardians, and it's really interesting that we take a look at all of them, because, we have the Witness here. We have the big bad coming out, and we're going to finally face him, and we're basically going to win, LOL. But we have a lot of time until we get to that point, and we gotta get everything ready, as Crow's over there right now in the Pale Heart, and we gotta make that connection, and we gotta get over into that portal. But until then, it looks like the Hive and the Black Fleet are going to finally attack the last city that we've been hoping for so long now, and we gotta defend our last city and our citizens. But yeah, that's all I got. I'll see you guys in the next video. Love you guys. Bye bye.